The NFL's trade deadline is quickly approaching, with this weekend's slate of games the final matchups ahead of Tuesday's last call for deals. We've already seen the Houston Texans trade running back Mark Ingram back to his old home in New Orleans, giving the Saints' run game a boost with a familiar face. What other moves might we see over the next few days? Here's a brief overview of what we can expect. Who's buying? Contenders like Arizona, Green Bay, Dallas, and the Rams are all in to win, and their approach to the deadline should reflect that. The Cardinals already scooped up tight end Zach Ertz earlier this month, and could be doing more shopping. The Packers' already shallow receiving core has been a talking point all season, a gift for QB Aaron Rodgers in the form of, oh, I don't know, maybe a solid receiving weapon like Houston's Brandon Cooks could go a long way. Bears WR1 Allen Robinson would be so good in Green Bay, but it feels unlikely Chicago's going to deal its most eligible trade chip to its most hated rival. Sigh, who's selling? The Texans are the most obvious team to watch here. They've already completed multiple deals and are nowhere near contention. If you're got picks, Houston's likely to answer the phone. Chicago, Miami, Detroit, Philadelphia, and perhaps the New York Giants will be teams to watch, too. Why Watson should not be moved? The most talented player on the trade block likely won't, and shouldn't, be traded ahead of the deadline. That's quarterback Deshaun Watson of the Texans. Last March, not long after informing the Texans he wanted to be traded out of Houston, a series of allegations surfaced against him. He now faces 22 civil suits and 10 criminal complaints from women accusing him of sexual harassment and/or misconduct during massage appointments. Even though he is not currently facing criminal charges, the league office still has the power to place Watson on the commissioner's exempt list. They have not done so, making Watson eligible to play. He hasn't taken a single snap this season, however, sitting third on the Texans' QB depth chart while he holds out for a trade. Let's be clear, though, you absolutely cannot talk about the possibility of a Watson trade without factoring in the very real and very serious allegations against him, and the women behind those complaints. Trading for Watson right now, months before any kind of resolution in these cases, is irresponsible. But the fact remains that by Tuesday, it could still happen. So, what if it does happen? As various rumors and reports have suggested, the most likely destination for Watson is Miami, which is also the QB's preferred team. As absurd as it seems to be giving this much say to a player facing such serious allegations, it's written into his contract in the form of a no-trade clause and is therefore an important part of this. Talking in strictly football terms, Miami makes sense. The team already appears to be ready to split with second-year starter Tua Tagovailoa after less than a full season with him at the helm, and hasn't exactly provided convincing answers when asked about Watson. Overall, though, this really feels like it's not in Houston's best interest to try and hurry up a pre-deadline trade for a number of reasons. Considering the state of the rebuilding Texans, they're looking for picks, first-rounders, second-rounders, and plenty of them, in exchange for Watson. As much as it's desirable to move on and move forward, the Texans can't do much of that before next spring's draft. A little extra time could bring a lot of answers in many parts of this situation. Waiting until the offseason to trade Watson eliminates a lot of unknowns from both a legal and football perspective. Legally, it's much more likely that we'll have a firm understanding of the outcomes of the lawsuits he faces, as well as of how the NFL will approach his status. He could still face suspension, or time on the commissioner's exempt list. The right thing to do, on many levels, and for all those potentially involved, is to wait. Steelers vs. Browns, rest vs. recovery? The Cleveland Browns roster has been decimated by injuries so far this season, but there's good news on the horizon. After defeating the Denver Broncos last Thursday without quarterback Baker Mayfield, the league-best running back duo of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and several defenders, it looks like the injury list won't be quite as long against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mayfield, who's dealing with a pair of left shoulder injuries, has healed enough to be back in the lineup, but will still be without a few of his best weapons in reliever Donovan Peoples-Jones and Hunt, as well as a handful of defenders still out on the other side of the ball. The best news for the Browns, in addition to Mayfield's return, is the likely addition of Chubb back into the lineup. He, too, was removed from the club's injury list this week and should be ready to go after missing 2 games. The timing couldn't be better, considering the Steelers are coming off their bye week and will be well rested for this divisional matchup against the Browns, the team's first meeting of the year after Cleveland stunned them in the playoffs last January. A Pittsburgh victory Sunday won't avenge that playoff loss, but it would see them emerge from the AFC North's basement and leapfrog the Browns for third in the tightly contested division. A Browns win, meanwhile, would make things mighty interesting. While the Baltimore Ravens get some rest on their bye week, the Cincinnati Bengals have a chance to get ahead of the gang in what should be a very winnable game against the New York Jets.